Welcome to this deep dive. And, today I really want to talk directly to you, like the woman listening to this right now. Whether you are commuting to work, or maybe you're folding just a massive mountain of laundry, or even hiding in your car for 5 minutes of peace.
Right? Which we all do.
Yeah, we all do it because I know your reality. I know the endless, scrolling, impossible to-do lists that are just running on a loop in your head. And I know that immense, crushing pressure you feel to be, well, everything. The perfect professional, the endlessly patient mother, the supportive friend.
And, you're supposed to somehow make it all look completely effortless and aesthetically pleasing online, too.
Exactly. It's like you are carrying this heavy, invisible, lead-lined backpack every single day.
And the culture we live in has thoroughly convinced you that you are simply not allowed to put that backpack down. Like, not even for a second. Because if you put it down, you fail.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because today our mission is to create a totally safe, emotionally rich, completely non-judgmental space just for you. We are taking a collective deep breath. We're exploring this profound cultural phenomenon that is, frankly, fundamentally rewriting the rules of how women relate to themselves.
It really is a massive shift.
Yeah, we're pulling from modern psychology on the biology of burnout, but primarily we are diving deep into the methodology of Olga Primachenko's absolute sensation of a book. It's called To Yourself with Tenderness.
Right, and to give you some crucial context on why this specific material is so revolutionary, we really have to look at Primachenko herself. She's a Belarusian journalist, a psychologist, and for years she was the editor-in-chief of a major digital portal specifically for women.
So she really had her finger on the pulse.
Completely. Because of that position, she had this incredibly unique, almost overwhelming vantage point. She was essentially reading the collective, unfiltered diary of modern women. She was receiving their letters, reading their comments, and just watching their anxieties and their absolute soul-crushing burnout unfold in real time.
Like she actually saw the exhaustion hiding behind the curated photos.
She saw all of it. And what's fascinating here is that she realized the dominant cultural narrative, this toxic, pervasive idea of success at all costs, of hustling until your eyes bleed, was literally physically and mentally breaking people. It wasn't making them better.
No, it was just causing this dangerous disconnection from their own internal signals.
Exactly. So her book arrives, and it sparks this massive tectonic cultural shift in the post-Soviet space. It completely rejected rigid hustle culture and replaced it with this concept of radical, unapologetic self-tenderness.
And it resonated so deeply, like on such a visceral level, that the book is actually being turned into a major motion picture releasing in 2026.
Oh, the movie about Nadia, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It follows a 40-year-old surgeon named Nadia. She is this brilliant woman who diagnoses and heals physical illnesses all day long. She saves lives, but she slowly realizes she has completely lost the ability to hear her own feelings. She is entirely numb to herself.
Which is such a common reality.
It is. Reading through these sources, I just kept thinking, so many of us are Nadia. We are highly capable women, experts at tending to the needs of the entire world, and we are completely deaf to the cries of our own bodies.
Because we were never taught the vocabulary of self-tenderness. We were only taught the vocabulary of discipline, the nobility of sacrifice. We were basically taught that our value lies entirely in what we can endure and produce for other people.
Exactly. So here is our blueprint for this deep dive. We are going to walk you through the 9 core principles of self-tenderness. And we aren't just going to sit here and talk abstract theory, really. We're going to look at real, gritty, everyday examples.
It's the stuff that actually happens in your kitchen and at your office.
Right. We'll give you concrete daily practices you can start today. And then we will walk you through her famous 31-day marathon of tenderness, which is this transformational journey to bring your walls down.
It really is a journey of profound unlearning. Unlearning that hostility we hold toward ourselves.
So let's start right where Primachenko starts. Principle 1. It anchors this entire philosophy. And it's the absolute non-negotiable validation of your own feelings. Or, what clinical psychology might call the integration of the shadow self.
Right.
The core idea here is a total rejection of forced, toxic positivity. Primachenko argues there are no ugly or wrong feelings. None. Your emotions are not moral failings. They're simply data points.
That is such a massive paradigm shift for most of us. Because think about traditional self-help right now. It constantly tells us to fix our negative emotions, like they're software bugs.
Oh, absolutely. Like, just manifest good vibes.
Exactly. If you feel sad, you're told to practice gratitude until you are happy. If you feel angry, just meditate until you are calm. But pushing those feelings away doesn't make them vanish. It just adds this heavy secondary layer of guilt on top of the distress. You feel bad, and then you feel bad about feeling bad.
Okay, but I have to admit, this is where I get tripped up sometimes. Because it's like we treat our negative emotions as these uninvited guests crashing a fancy party, right? We're terrified the neighbors will see them, so we exhaust ourselves trying to physically shove them into a dark closet, and we just lean our entire body weight against the door to keep it shut.
Yes, the closet analogy is perfect.
Because aren't we taught that complaining is a sign of weakness? Like if I just sit around validating my anger, aren't I just giving myself a pass to be a miserable person? Doesn't indulging that shadow self make me toxic?
Well, that is exactly the fear that keeps us trapped. But it's fundamentally a misunderstanding of how emotions work neurologically. Validating a feeling is not the same as indulging it or acting out destructively.
Okay, so what's the difference?
When you push a feeling into that closet and lean on the door, you are spending a massive amount of psychological energy, actual metabolic energy in your brain just to keep that door shut.
Yeah.
Your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, is still firing. It knows the monster is in the closet.
Wow.
But when you open the door and say, "I see you," something incredible happens. By articulating the emotion, you actually push blood flow away from the panic center of the amygdala and into the prefrontal cortex, which is the logic and regulation center. You're using language to literally put the brakes on your brain's panic response.
So acknowledging it is the actual biological mechanism for releasing it. That's wild.
Precisely. And Primachenko brilliantly critiques our cultural obsession with pushing through pain using what she calls the salmon metaphor.
Oh, I love this part.
Right. Think about a salmon. Culturally, we are taught to deeply admire this heroic fish. It swims relentlessly upstream, it fights freezing currents, evades bears, throws its body over jagged rocks, all to reach its spawning ground.
And then what happens?
It spawns, its body shuts down, and it literally dies.
It pays for its success with its own life.
Exactly. And society applauds the salmon. We stand on the riverbank and cheer for its sacrifice. And worse, we model our own human success narratives on this exact tragic arc. We believe that to be a good mother or a good employee, we must swing upstream until our bodies physically break.
But human life shouldn't be a salmon run. We shouldn't have to pay for our goals with our joy and sanity. Let's ground this in a real-life example because I know every woman listening has felt this.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so you're coming home from a grueling day, difficult clients, terrible traffic. Your nervous system is already humming with stress. You walk through the front door and your kids run up to you. They're screaming your name, pulling your clothes, demanding snacks.
And instead of feeling this glowing cinematic surge of maternal joy,
Yes. Instead of that, you feel an overwhelming, almost violent spike of pure irritation. You have a visceral urge to push them away and lock yourself in a dark room.
and immediately the internal monologue starts screaming.
Right. It says, I am a terrible mother. Something is fundamentally broken inside me. I don't love my kids enough. I'm a monster. The guilt just spirals.
But radical self-tenderness steps in right at that moment. It demands that you look at that irritation not as a moral failing, but purely as a biological data point. You are not a monster. You are simply starved and touched out.
Your tank is just empty.
Yes, your allostatic load, the cumulative burden of stress is maxed out. Your nervous system is fried. That intense irritation is a completely normal biological response to having zero resources left.
And when you look at it that way, the shame just evaporates. So how do we practice this? The first concrete daily practice from the sources is called name it to tame it. When you feel that surge of negative emotion, instead of hiding it, state exactly what you feel out loud, without judgment.
Just say, I feel incredibly angry right now. I feel touched out, and this is my truth in this moment.
Right. And the second practice is the physical pause. We forget we are biological creatures. When stress hits, your muscles flood with cortisol. They remember the tension.
You have to physically complete the stress cycle.
And this doesn't mean doing an hour of punishing CrossFit, right?
Not at all. It means finding a moment, even hiding in the bathroom for 60 seconds, and physically moving that pent-up energy. Literally shake out your arms and legs like a wet dog. Or do 20 quick squats.
Just to burn off that adrenaline.
Exactly. It sends a clear signal up the vagus nerve to your brain that says, we escaped the threat. The tiger is gone. You can power down.
Give your physical body the explicit permission to feel safe. I love that. And recognizing what our bodies actually need naturally shifts the conversation to our time management. Which brings us to principle 2. The art of priorities.
This one is so crucial.
It really is. In pop psychology, we hear a constant drumbeat about setting boundaries, boundary this, boundary that. But Primachenko makes a really vital distinction. Priorities are fundamentally different from boundaries. Boundaries are the defensive walls you build around your life to keep danger out. But priorities dictate the internal order of the things that already live inside those walls.
That is a beautiful way to phrase it. Prioritization is the exhausting daily labor of choosing what matters most right now in this specific hour. And it requires a painful acceptance of a universal truth. Saying yes to one thing fundamentally means saying no to 100 other things.
You just have a finite amount of energy. If we connect this to the bigger picture of what women face, this is about reclaiming your autonomy. The culture demands you be everything simultaneously. The dedicated employee, the perfect homemaker, the gym goddess.
And mathematically, attempting to run all those high-power background apps at the same time will just crash your hard drive.
Yes. So let's look at a scenario. It's a Thursday night. Your in-laws are arriving tomorrow morning. Your house is a disaster zone. Sticky counters, toys everywhere, a tower of dishes in the sink. You just finished a 9-hour workday and put the kids to bed. You are bone tired.
The kind where your limbs feel like lead.
Exactly. Now, the old script screams at you that you must stay up until 2 a.m. scrubbing baseboards so that when your family arrives, you appear flawlessly put together.
In that scenario, you are prioritizing the appearance of perfection to manage other people's perceptions. And you're placing that above your own desperate biological need for cellular rest and recovery.
Radical self-tenderness means making a different choice. It means looking at that sticky counter and choosing the priority of recovery over appearances. Deciding, my mother-in-law is going to have to see a messy house because my sanity and sleep are more important tonight.
Making that choice feels terrifying at first, though. The ghost of guilt will try to creep in under the bedroom door.
Oh, absolutely. So the daily practices here are designed to build that muscle. The first is the priority pivot phrase. Practice saying this specific sentence. Right now, something else is more important to me.
It's such a stabilizing phrase because it removes the need to defend yourself. It doesn't mean the other thing isn't objectively important. It just means it is not the priority right now.
Yes, I'd love to help you review that project, but right now, something else is more important to me. And that something else can literally be lying on your rug, staring at the ceiling for 45 minutes.
Exactly. Rest is an activity.
The second practice is to deeply audit your shoulds. We ruthlessly bully ourselves with the word should. I should work out. I should cook an organic dinner. Catch yourself using that word. Try replacing I should with either I want to or I have the resources to.
And this is where you really have to listen to your body. If you say, I want to cook a 3-course dinner tonight, and your stomach instantly ties into a knot and your jaw clenches, your body is telling you that statement is a lie.
And if it feels like a lie, here's your permission slip. Drop the task. Just drop it. Order a pizza. The sky will not fall.
Which perfectly transitions us to the next profound shift.
Yeah.
Principle 3, embracing true adulthood. Because dropping those shoulds requires internal authority.
Here's where it gets really interesting. In pop psychology right now, there is a massive obsession with the inner child. We're told to coddle our inner child, buy things for our inner child, but Primachenko asks us to stop waiting for a mythical good parent to save us. True adulthood is about actively cultivating the kind inner adult.
Right. It's about becoming the compassionate, exceptionally reliable adult for yourself. Most of us are walking around with an inner critic that sounds exactly like a harsh, demanding parent from our past.
It's tyrannical.
It is. The goal isn't to become a helpless child. The goal is to replace that critic with a capable inner adult who possesses endless grace.
Let's picture how this plays out. You are at work, you make a mistake, you accidentally send an email with a confidential attachment to the entire company. Sheer panic sets in, and instantly your inner critic starts screaming. It recites every failure you've had since 10th grade. It tells you you're getting fired today.
That voice is the voice of sheer panic. That is an abandoned child panicking.
Yeah.
That is not an adult handling a crisis.
Exactly. So the kind inner adult steps in. And notice, the kind inner adult does not gaslight you. They don't say, oh, sweetie, you're perfect. It wasn't a mistake.
Right, no toxic positivity.
They look squarely at reality. They say, okay, wow, you messed up. This is a mess. But listen to me. We are going to fix it. We have the skills to fix it. But first, we are getting a cup of tea. We are taking 10 deep breaths. The world is not ending. I am right here with you.
It's the exact tone you would instinctively use with a best friend who called you in a panic. You would ground them and help them strategize. You have to turn that exact mechanism inward.
To build this voice, there's a daily practice I absolutely love. I've actually started doing it myself. It's called the My Good Girl modifier. In Russian, the phrase is moya korshaya, which translates to my good girl or my sweet one. The practice is this. At the end of every harsh internal thought today, you simply append that phrase, my good girl.
The neuroscience behind this is fascinating. When you criticize yourself, your brain is reinforcing neural pathways of shame. But when you append a term of genuine endearment, it acts as a cognitive pattern interrupt. It forces the brain to reroute from the punishing centers to the soothing attachment centers. It neutralizes the hostility entirely.
It really does. Let's try it. I totally forgot to send that important email, my good girl. I burned the dinner. I spent an hour prepping, my good girl. Notice how the tension in your jaw physically dissolves. You simply cannot maintain a posture of hatred toward yourself when you end a sentence with such profound affection.
And an integral part of being a strong adult is having the authority to know what you no longer have to tolerate. That leads to the second practice, creating your safe. Too old for this list.
Yes, grab your phone and write down 3 things you simply no longer tolerate because you have outgrown them. What are you literally too old and too tired to deal with? For me, it's finishing bad books. I used to force myself to finish every book because I thought quitting meant I was uncultured. Now, if I am 50 pages in and the writing is tedious, I am snapping it shut. Life is too short.
I love that. For me, it's wearing shoes that pinch my toes just to look professional, or staying at loud networking parties where I can't even hear anyone. I'm too old for foot pain and forced small talk.
Writing this list is a definitive act of drawing a line in the sand regarding your energy, which pivots us perfectly to a topic that carries massive anxiety for women. Principle 4, gentle finances.
This is a big one.
Very big. Now, this is not a financial literacy lesson on building a stock portfolio. This is entirely about your psychological relationship with money. Delinking your inherent, soulful self-worth from the relentless hustle for monetary gain.
What's deeply poignant here is how Primachenko addresses the specific trauma of forced independence. Many modern women carry this paralyzing terror of depending on anyone financially. We've been taught that if someone pays for us, buys us dinner, helps with rent, we instantly owe them our agency.
We think if someone pays the bill, we are basically being bought.
Yes. We harbor this subconscious belief that our autonomy is compromised and we are no longer safe.
It is exhausting. We walk around wearing this clanking armor of hyper-independence. Imagine a woman running her own small business as a freelance graphic designer. She constantly undercharges. When friends ask for quick favors, she does them completely for free, spending her whole weekend working because she feels suffocating guilt assigning a monetary value to her time.
Because she conflates her personal relationships with her professional boundaries. Or consider a woman whose partner gets a bonus and genuinely wants to treat her to a weekend getaway. Instead of feeling joy, she feels freezing panic. She stubbornly insists on splitting the cost to the exact penny.
She disguises her fear of vulnerability as feminist empowerment. So what does gentle finance actually look like? It looks like allowing yourself to be supported. The first daily practice is reframing the gift. When someone offers to pay for dinner, instead of calculating how you will pay them back, practice simply accepting it. Internally, you repeat this exact phrase, they are paying for my joy, not buying my compliance.
They are paying for my joy. Just saying those words shifts the energetic dynamic. It transforms a high-stakes debt into a simple act of love.
But I want to push back on the professional side of this because the sources suggest a second practice called the anti-freebie rule. The rule is, today, you stop doing professional favors for free just because.
No.
You must value your time with a price tag. But let's be real, if my sister asks me to design a quick logo for her bakery and I quote her my $150 hourly rate, I'm going to ruin Thanksgiving.
Right, that feels incredibly harsh. But here is the nuanced mechanism behind the rule. It's about preventing the slow, toxic buildup of resentment. If you do that logo for free and it takes 20 hours and she keeps asking for revisions, you are going to end up resentful.
Oh, definitely.
So the rule isn't that you can never help family. The rule is that it must be explicit. You either quote them your rate, if you genuinely want to do it for free, you explicitly frame it as a gift of a specific value. You say, my normal rate is $3,000, but I love you and I want to gift this to you for your launch.
Okay, that makes so much sense. By making the value visible, you protect the relationship from invisible resentment.
Exactly. You politely decline open-ended free labor that destroys your peace.
And protecting your peace is the perfect bridge to Principle 5, trusting yourself and expanding the comfort zone. We need to shout this one from the rooftops. For 20 years, the aggressive self-help industry has screamed one mantra at us. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
You have to get out of your comfort zone to succeed, right? If you aren't terrified, you aren't growing.
It's an incredibly militaristic ideology. It treats your body and mind like an enemy combatant that needs to be broken down. Primachenko argues the polar opposite. She looks at the nervous system and states that you fundamentally cannot experience true, sustainable growth if you are existing in a state of chronic panicked stress.
We only take healthy risks when we feel secure. When we are terrified, we don't grow. We just survive in a fight or flight response.
I want to use an analogy here. It's like buying a beautiful, delicate houseplant. It's thriving in warm soil, and one day you look at it and say, you know what? This soil is making you lazy. I'm going to rip you out by your fragile roots and throw you onto the freezing concrete driveway to toughen you up.
The plant won't grow. It will go into shock and die.
It's absurd. We need the rich soil and safety to actually blossom. We don't need to violently exile ourselves from our comfort zone. We need to expand our comfort zone outward from a place of deep safety.
Think about a woman relentlessly climbing the corporate ladder. She's exhausted. She's offered an executive role that requires 80-hour work weeks. The hustle culture script says, take it, but radical tenderness says, take a step back. She stays in her current role where she knows what she's doing, clocks out at 5 p.m., and uses that surplus energy to figure out what actually brings her joy.
Like learning to play the piano or baking bread. But wait, won't I just become lazy and stagnant if I stay comfortable?
That's the capitalist fear talking. Safety does not breed laziness. It breeds creativity. Living things inherently want to grow, but they grow organically when nourished. To cultivate this safety, the daily practice is the power of the pause.
Oh, this is so hard to do, but so necessary.
In our fast-paced world, our brains are conditioned to fawn, to appease others. We say yes to every request instantly.
Can you run the bake sale? Yes. Can you take on this extra project? Yes. We say it before our conscious brain even registers our fatigue.
So the unbreakable rule is, you must never say yes immediately to any request today. Never.
Your automatic default answer is, I need some time to think about it. That's it. Even if you know you will probably say yes eventually, you aggressively force the pause. It creates a vital neurological buffer zone against your own impulse to self-sacrifice.
It allows you to check in with your physical body and ask, do I actually have the bandwidth for this?
And speaking of checking in with the physical body, principle 6 is making peace with your body. Because you cannot feel safe in your comfort zone if you are at war with the vessel you live inside.
And let's be extremely clear. This is not about toxic performative body positivity.
No, we are not asking you to stand in front of a mirror and force yourself to scream, I absolutely love my cellulite. If you can do that, beautiful. But for most women, forcing that mantra feels like a lie. And it just creates a brand new metric of success that you are failing at.
Exactly. It's exhausting. Primachenko advocates for body neutrality, stepping off the battlefield entirely. It's about honoring the profound history your physical body has lived through. It has survived heartbreaks, chronic stress, maybe childbirth. It is the only thing carrying your consciousness through this world.
This raises an important question, though. How do we care for a body we sometimes feel alienated from?
By treating it like an old trusted friend, rather than a beast of burden that we have to starve and punish. Think about the cognitive load of body hatred. How much mental energy is spent every single day sustaining a background program of self-criticism. Suck in your stomach, don't eat that.
Body neutrality is closing that massive background tab. Picture this scenario. A woman is standing in front of her closet. Half the clothes are 3 sizes too small. Her goal clothes. Every morning, those clothes silently whisper to her that she is failing. She is putting her life on hold, waiting for the magical day she finally loses the weight to earn the right to buy beautiful clothes.
Her current living body is being actively punished until it complies with a future fantasy.
Radical self-tenderness is taking those small clothes, putting them in a garbage bag, and giving them away today. It is buying soft, beautiful garments that fit her exact dimensions as she exists this morning, looking in the mirror and saying, my body deserves to be draped in comfort right now.
To put this into practice, we have 2 tactile exercises. The first is the care flower. Buy a small houseplant. Every time you water it, ask yourself, when was the last time I watered myself today? When did I last give my body a glass of water, a deep breath, or sunlight?
I love that physical anchor. And the second practice is the radar of joy. We've been deeply conditioned by the diet industry to view physical movement purely as a mathematical punishment for eating. Today, move your body based purely on joy. Do not look at an Apple Watch. Put on your softest sweatpants, turn on your favorite song, and dance terribly in your kitchen.
Move just to celebrate the sheer miracle that your heart is beating, which naturally connects to Principle 7, curating your space. Because your environment, physical and digital, profoundly impacts your nervous system.
Your home and your phone should be sanctuaries, not battlegrounds where you feel judged.
In our hyper-connected era, curating your informational space is an urgent act of radical self-care. Human brains were not evolved to carry the emotional weight of the entire globe. You need to consciously create places of power where you can drop your armor.
We all know the feeling. It's 11 p.m. You open social media in bed. Within 30 seconds, you see an influencer with a spotless beige house or college friend vacationing in Italy, and instantly your chest tightens. You feel like you are drastically behind in life.
By looking at that screen, you are voluntarily allowing an uninvited jest to walk right into your sacred bedroom, stand over your bed, and hurl insult at you.
Yes. So the practice is the ruthless mute. You owe absolutely no one your digital attention. Go through your feeds today. Anyone who causes a pang of anxiety, even a cousin, even a fitness guru, ruthlessly mute or unfollow them.
Cool.
But I have to play devil's advocate. If I mute everyone who makes me feel bad, aren't I just creating an echo chamber?
That is a common critique. But your bedroom is not the public town square. You do not have an ethical obligation to consume content that triggers your insecurities just to prove you are open-minded. Your personal feed should be a curated garden that genuinely soothes your nervous system.
Your bedroom is not the town square. I love that. And for your physical space, the practice is give away one thing. Find one specific item in your home that carries bad memories or that you keep purely out of guilt. Put it in a box and physically remove it today. Notice how the space literally feels lighter.
You are taking definitive control of the ambient energy in your life, which leads us to dealing with other people's energy. Principle 8, gentle communication. Expressing your needs clearly without pre-apologizing. Words were invented to solve problems, not create them.
Okay, I have to push back here. If someone says something truly outrageous to me and I just stay silent, doesn't that mean I'm being a complete pushover?
Not at all. That is just the reflex society has ingrained in us. We think every challenge is a duel. But silence in the face of provocation isn't weakness. It is masterful adult energy conservation. You do not have to RSVP to every single argument you're invited to.
Let's picture a loud family dinner. A relative leans across the table and criticizes your parenting style or the fact that you aren't married. The old reflex is to launch into a defensive debate. You pull out facts to justify your existence.
And does that debate ever end with them saying, you know what, you're right, I profoundly apologize?
Never. It just ruins your digestion and depletes your energy. Gentle communication means you smile, a very soft, unbothered smile, and let the comment crash onto the floor. You realize their uninformed opinion has zero bearing on your reality.
To master this, try the different opinion shield. When someone states something critical, look them in the eye and say, I have a different opinion. And then, this is the crucial part, stop talking.
Yes. Do not offer a thesis defense. Let the awkward silence hang heavily in the air. Watch them scramble to fill the void.
And the second communication practice is to ask for help explicitly. Stop dropping hints. Women are conditioned to aggressively load the dishwasher, sighing loudly, hoping our partner will magically read our minds.
And when they don't, we build a monument of burning resentment. Today, ask for exactly what you need in plain, unemotional language. I need you to take out the trash right now. I need an hour of total quiet time. Please watch the kids. Give people the clear opportunity to support you.
Which brings us to our final core principle, Principle 9, finding your tribe. Because setting boundaries with difficult people creates incredible space to embrace the good ones. This is about recognizing the people who act as good mirrors.
So what does this all mean? A good mirror consistently reflects your light, your humor, and your inherent beauty back to you. And crucially, this principle means granting yourself the grace to let certain friendships gently end when their season is over.
We often hold on to draining relationships out of sunk cost fallacy. We think, well, we've been friends since college, I have to make it work.
Think about a friendship forged 15 years ago. Now, every time you get coffee, you leave feeling drained. There's a subtle current of competition. Contrast that with a friend you can text at 3 p.m. and say, I just need to vent, please don't try to fix it. And they reply instantly, I'm here, you are safe.
You are allowed to curate your inner circle ruthlessly. To help navigate this, we have the code word practice. Establish a safe phrase with your closest friends, like, I'm just here to whine. It signals to their brain that you don't need a favor or a lecture. You just need a safe mirror.
It takes the pressure off them to fix your life. And the final daily practice is the card of power. Sometime today, write a message to someone you truly love. Tell them exactly what their superpower is. Say, your fierce resilience is your superpower. Watch how reflecting their light brings a warm glow right back to you.
So those are the 9 foundational principles. But Primachenko created a structured intervention to actually wire these concepts into your nervous system. The book culminates in a 31-day marathon of self-tenderness.
And view this marathon not as a rigid challenge of willpower, but as an incredibly gentle week by week unraveling of the painful knots you have tied yourself into.
Week 1 is all about grounding. The goal is to strip away past regrets and future anxieties. You do the present tense self-portrait. You describe who you are using only present tense verbs, not the weight you hope to be. Who are you right now, today?
It forces you to look in the mirror. You realize that who you are right now, without changing a single thing, is inherently enough.
Then you move into week 2, truth and boundaries. You discover your sensory capsule. You identify the physical sense, textures, and sounds that make you feel fundamentally like you.
Like the smell of dark roast coffee or the sound of rain. You use these to bypass your intellectualizing defenses and drop into your physical body. The emotional shift moves from, I should be doing this, to, this is my truth right now, and I am safe.
Week 3 is reclamation, the great purge. You clean out your physical and digital spaces. You officially declare your I am too old for this shit list to the universe.
The relief in week 3 is profound. It's the visceral feeling of taking off a soaking wet, heavy winter coat that you've been wearing indoors for years. You finally let go of those invisible backpacks of generational guilt.
And finally, week 4 is integration, the beautiful culmination. Primachenko asks a staggeringly profound question. What would grow if you planted your heart in the earth?
Wow. Just, if you are listening to this, let that sit in the air for a second. What would grow if you planted your heart in the earth? It's about discovering your truest purpose when all the screaming noise of the world is stripped away. And the marathon ends with an unbreakable promise to yourself to never abandon this inner sanctuary you have built.
Synthesizing all of this, it is vital to remember that building this internal safe house is not an overnight project. It takes real time. But every single time you force a pause before saying yes, every time you choose sleep over scrubbing a floor, every time you whisper my good girl to yourself, you are laying a solid brick in that foundation.
And as we close this deep dive, please hear this one thing. You do not need to earn the right to be gentle with yourself. It is not a prize at the end of a grueling obstacle course. You do not need to hit a goal weight, you do not need a massive promotion, and you absolutely do not need to be a flawless mother to unlock it. You already deserve it. Fully, completely, and exactly as you are right now, crying over a mountain of unfolded laundry.
You are inherently unconditionally worthy of your own profound care.
Think about this final thought. Imagine for just a second that you are walking down the sidewalk on a typical Tuesday afternoon. You hear a sharp thud. You look down and you see a small, fragile bird that has just flown headfirst into a glass window. It's stunned. Its tiny chest is rising and falling with frantic breaths.
You certainly wouldn't walk up and kick it, or demand that it get up and fly a mile before you helped it.
Exactly. You wouldn't yell at it for being clumsy. You would kneel down on the concrete. You would cup that tiny bird very gently in your warm hands to shield it from the wind. You would speak to it in a soft, hushed voice, giving it a safe, quiet space to simply catch its breath until it was ready to fly again.
It's a purely instinctual response of tenderness.
Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, before you check your phone, before you let the demands of the world attack your brain, take one deep, slow breath. Put your own hands over your own chest. Cup your own exhausted soul in your hands. Whisper to yourself, you are safe now. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Take incredibly gentle care of yourselves today.